Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Anime Dreams. Today's topic for this fanfiction video is the transformation of Uchiha Naruto, altering the clan's destiny. Disclaimer: the content presented on this channel is intended for entertainment and discussion purposes exclusively. I do not claim ownership of any anime footage featured in my videos. All rights and credits belong to their respective creators and copyright holders. Let's begin. Uzumaki Naruto is a discerning young individual. He acknowledges and comprehends his intelligence, a fact reinforced by numerous affirmations from those around him. Tsukimi, the caretaker at the orphanage, frequently reinforces this notion. Distinguished by deep facial lines and gray hair, she stands out among the adults. When Naruto inquires about her appearance, she attributes it to the natural aging process. Despite occasional challenges in managing the children's bedtime, she exhibits kindness by occasionally treating them to sweets. However, Naruto discerns that not all adults share Tsukimi's demeanor. An elderly man, referred to as Hokage-sama despite his retired status, visits to check on the older Jonin kids. While generally amiable, he regards Naruto with an enigmatic gaze, acknowledging his connection to Naruto's parents but refraining from disclosing their names, albeit politely. Unperturbed by this, Naruto focuses on his goals. Unaided by the retired Hokage and often ignored by the Jonin, he turns to the orphanage's discarded books for guidance. Among them, he discovers a damaged tome containing the leaf-sticking exercise, a chakra control technique crucial for aspiring shinobi, an aspiration born from a simple yet profound desire. One incident solidifies Naruto's resolve. Witnessing an older boy pilfer a locket from a girl his age, Naruto, overcome with anger, confronts the bully, reminiscent of the Jonin's training dummies. His intervention leads to the bully's repentance and earns him the girl's heartfelt gratitude, reinforcing his determination to become a shinobi. Despite his fervor, Naruto recognizes the need for permission. Approaching Tsukimi, he seeks approval to venture outside, a request she grants with a cautionary condition. Naruto agrees, eager to commence his training and embarking on a path fueled by determination and a sense of justice. Hatake Kakashi is a seasoned shinobi. Despite his youth, he carries the weight of weariness with him. It's a reality he's come to accept, especially since everyone around him keeps insisting he take a break. During and after the Third Shinobi World War, Kakashi seemed to attract either a string of misfortunes or the universe had singled him out for misery. His closest comrade sacrificed himself to save their team, leaving Kakashi with a priceless gift that no material wealth could match. Then, he found himself in the tragic position of having to eliminate that very teammate to safeguard Konoha. The loss of his revered sensei, followed by the passing of the woman he considered family, further darkened his days. Yet, he soldiered on. Post the Kyuubi attack, Sandaime-sama appointed Tsunade as the next Hokage. Kakashi vividly recalls the heated arguments that ensued, but Tsunade eventually assumed the role of God-I'm Hokage. While a bit hot-tempered, Kakashi acknowledges Tsunade as a capable leader. Her swift and ruthless response to Kumo's attempt to abduct the Hyuga heiress solidified Kakashi's trust in her leadership. She didn't flinch in the face of threats, reminding Kumo of their past defeats and warning that any aggression would leave them with no village to defend. Kumo retreated with damaged pride, boosting Konoha's reputation for strength and justice. Kakashi takes satisfaction in this outcome. It not only enhances Konoha's image but also preserves the innocence of a young girl and keeps families intact, something he values deeply. He suspects that Tsunagakure, their recent ally, admires Tsunade's firm stance, evident from the generous gift of fine sake sent by the Kazekage as a gesture of goodwill. It's been half a decade since the night the Kyuubi wreaked havoc. His situation hasn't worsened significantly, but despite a few standout moments, there hasn't been much improvement either. He remains in the Anbu, steadily climbing the ranks to captaincy following his sensei's placement before his demise. Days blur together now: wake up, eat, mission, return, eat, shower, sleep. It's a monotonous routine, devoid of excitement or novelty. He lacks experience in matters beyond duty, like friendship and romance. He gazes at women, curious about the prospect of a spouse, yet hesitates to approach them. Despite his personal struggles, he maintains focus on his responsibilities. Patrol duty is still his domain. Any mishap under his watch would dent his hard-earned credibility. Lost in contemplation, he finds himself wandering into Riverside Park, lost in his thoughts. Kakashi spots a young boy sporting eyes and hair reminiscent of Obito's, albeit with slightly longer spiky locks akin to Sensei's. The boy's demeanor appears more focused than Obito's at that age. He carries a worn-out book and a water bottle, piquing Kakashi's curiosity. He tries to catch the boy's scent on the breeze, wondering if he's connected to someone familiar. As Kakashi pauses, the boy's appearance triggers a flood of recognition, especially through scent. Despite looking different from his biological parents, there's no denying his lineage. Genetics can be peculiar. Kakashi often imagines an alternate reality where he's the elder brother, Sensei plays the role of the stern yet caring father, and Kushina, the spirited and loving but occasionally embarrassing mother. Sarutobi's claim of Naruto's demise clashes with Kakashi's instincts, hinting at a looming confrontation. Meanwhile, Uchiha Madara, ancient beyond measure, contemplates his mortality. Despite his prolonged life through experiments and power aspirations, it's his encounter with a determined crimson-haired woman and her fiery child that rekindles his purpose. To shield his daughter from persecution, he devises a Junjutsu to conceal her Uchiha lineage, ensuring her safety while lamenting Konoha's decisions regarding Jinchuriki. Through it all, Madara remains a vigilant observer, safeguarding his legacy from the shadows. His strategy resumed, with a vigilant focus on Konoha. Kushina knew him solely as Otosan, thus remaining largely unaware of her lineage. Haruka conveyed to Kushina the news of Madara's peaceful passing, a year after her departure, without disclosing his true identity. The marker on his empty grave bore the name Uzumaki Izuna. He trusted his brother would approve, recognizing Haruka's worth despite his broader views on the Uzumaki clan. Over time, Madara's discontent with the shinobi world resurfaced. Misery seemed ubiquitous, from his ailing wife treated with infected tools following an encounter with Iwa shinobi at Uzu's borders, to the suffering in smaller nations due to the actions of larger, self-centered ones. The world of shinobi, in his eyes, was a source of constant pain. Haruka's passing only spurred Madara's plans forward. By then, he had unlocked the Rinnegan, summoned the Geto Mazo, and transplanted the eyes into an Uzumaki orphan, sustaining them with the orphan's chakra. Meanwhile, he kept a watchful eye on a boy with immense potential, surpassing even Namikaze Minato or the Sandaime Hokage. As Obito fell into his grasp, Madara entrusted Kurozetsu and Obito with executing the plan. Faking his death again using Izanagi, set to revive him after 5 years, he reclaimed his original eyes and observed the world's evolution. One stark realization infuriated Madara: Kushina's demise. Obito's extraction of the Kyuubi led Madara to infer Kushina's pregnancy. Remarkably, Kushina had exhibited a level of foresight Madara had not anticipated. Before the Yondaime could seal the Kyuubi into their newborn son, she utilized an advanced Shikuken ninjutsu, depleting her chakra and life force to teleport the Kyuubi away. This act, while costing Kushina her life, prevented her son from being a pawn in Konoha's agenda, a testament to her strength even in death. While acknowledging the necessity of sacrifices, Madara saw Konoha's dependency on the Baijuu for power balance as a fundamental weakness. Despite his sorrow over Kushina's demise, it might have been the wisest choice. Had she resealed the Kyuubi within herself, she would have drawn attention from village authorities seeking to exploit her power. This would have made her a prime target not just for resentful villagers but also for covetous foreign nations. Minato perished due to chakra depletion and a fatal injury, yet Madara felt no grief for the man. His unwavering loyalty to Konoha only fueled Madara's disdain, and now that his grandson was freed from Minato's influence, he could be nurtured to think independently, in line with true Uchiha principles. Madara suspected Minato would have indoctrinated Naruto with the village-first ideology, promoting self-sacrifice. With a sigh, Madara rose, feeling his ancient bones creaking. Aware of his limited time and the temporary nature of Hashirama's DNA support, he resolved to spend his remaining years mentoring his grandson, molding him into a legend akin to Madara himself. He was determined to see it through. The boy possessed spiky black hair tinged with a hint of blue, charcoal black eyes, and a healthy complexion. His chakra was unusually potent, with vast reserves, unmistakably reminiscent of Madara. Without a DNA test or chakra sensing, none would suspect he was the offspring of Kushina and Minato. The resemblance between Naruto and a young Madara was striking, at 5 years old. Naruto's chakra rivaled Madara's at almost 8, a testament to his Uzumaki Uchiha heritage. Observing Naruto beneath a tree by the man-made extension of the Naka River in Konoha, Madara noted the tranquility of the spot, shielded from bustling civilian activity. It was no surprise Naruto chose this secluded area for his chakra control practice. Konoha, being a vast village, harbored serene pockets like these, resembling expansive parks that could easily be mistaken for forests within the village walls. A leaf clung to his forehead, a testament to Naruto's perseverance. Madara, noting the boy's nonchalant demeanor, surmised that Naruto had likely mastered the exercise recently. He silently applauded the patience it demanded. With Naruto's reservoir of chakra, he must have spent hours perfecting it. Yet, that level of control would shape his future profoundly. Madara speculated that Naruto's boredom stemmed from having nothing new to occupy his mind after mastering the exercise. Glancing at the sky, he saw it was midday, a perfect opportunity to engage the boy and set things in motion. Stepping out from the foliage, he deliberately rustled a nearby bush to grab Naruto's attention. As expected, Naruto turned his gaze towards him, eyeing him with the cautious curiosity typical of a child his age. "Hello, young one," Madara greeted in his deep, weathered voice, as if it were ordinary for an elderly figure in a cloak to approach a child. "Hi," Naruto responded politely yet warily. "I noticed you practicing chakra control during my stroll. Are you aiming to become a shinobi?" Madara inquired, steering the conversation like any elder would with a youngster. "Yeah," Naruto replied, a spark of excitement lighting up his face. "I can stick a leaf to my forehead now." "Quite impressive for someone so young," Madara praised. "How long did it take you to master that?" "Not sure," Naruto shrugged, boredom evident. "But it felt like ages. I started right after waking up." "How did you come across the leaf-sticking technique?" "You're too young to join the academy," Madara expressed genuine curiosity. "I found it in an old book at the orphanage." Naruto exclaimed proudly, then his expression soured. "But the rest of the book was all torn. I don't know what to do next." Madara suppressed a smile. "So, that explained Naruto's earlier ennui. You must be quite adept at reading then," he remarked conversationally. Naruto nodded, his pride evident. "Yeah. Tsukimi Bakken lets me leave early since the others struggle with reading." The challenges of surpassing one's peers. Prodigies often faced such dilemmas. "You know, I could teach you something new," Madara suggested with a hint of mischief. "Like what?" Naruto approached with renewed interest, momentarily setting aside his reservations and suspicion. Madara couldn't help but wonder if he had ever been so trusting in his youth. "Let me impart some wisdom on chakra control. I once tread the path of a shinobi, a formidable one at that," Madara disclosed, his words carrying the weight of experience. "Really?" Naruto's skepticism was palpable, doubting the strength of an elderly man. "How about a pact? Master this new exercise before dusk, and I shall return to enlighten you on ninjutsu tomorrow," proposed Madara, igniting Naruto's excitement like a coiled spring. Madara elucidated the tree-climbing regimen and demonstrated it swiftly. Naruto absorbed every detail eagerly, pausing only to inquire, "Hey, what's your name, old man?" "Courtesy dictates you introduce yourself first," chided Madara gently, prompting Naruto to sheepishly reveal, "I'm Uzumaki Naruto." "Very well, Naruto. I am Madara." "Now, seize the moment, time is fleeting," urged Madara as Naruto embarked on his attempts, though not without a stumble or two. Observing Naruto's progress, Madara marveled at the amalgamation of Uchiha and Senju traits within him, a fusion that birthed something unique. Despite physical distinctions, Naruto's innate chakra prowess and resilient physique outshone his peers. In demeanor and wit, he mirrored Madara, evident in his retorts and steady ascent up the tree despite setbacks. Madara didn't let these thoughts distract him from raising Naruto. If anything, the presence of an Uzumaki body would merely enhance the boy's pre-existing natural talents such as the Sharingan and chakra strength to a greater level of potential. To what level was anyone's guess, seeing as the natural birth of an Uchiha and Uzumaki child in one had never occurred during the entire duration of recorded history, Kushina being a modified exception. On top of that, Madara was different to every other Uchiha who had ever awoken the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. He managed to reproduce before dying. Even he couldn't predict what kind of effects that would have on Naruto, being the only descendant of someone like him. Worst case? It meant nothing. Best case would be freedom from a curse. Indeed, Madara might have perished before achieving the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, never uncovering the cure for its inevitable blindness. The specter of Izuna's loss haunted him, driving him to take the only recourse available to continue the battle. Izuna's eyes had always been his stalwart allies. The memory of that fateful day lingered with Madara, the day he bid farewell to his final brother and lost the trust of his clan. I did it. Naruto's exuberant voice broke through, pulling Madara from his reverie. I reached the summit. You promised to teach me ninjutsu. I promised one technique, to be taught tomorrow. Madara's parched lips twitched. It's late, Naruto? The sun was setting rapidly. Despite his desire to extend their time together, it would raise suspicions if Naruto didn't return to the orphanage. Madara grasped that this marked Naruto's initial foray into shinobi training. Regardless of Naruto's abundant energy and chakra, his physique wasn't prepared for such rigorous drills. Madara opted to wait until Naruto was physically capable. Naruto surveyed the darkening surroundings, a hint of disappointment crossing his face. I'll head back now, Ji-san. Good night, Naruto. Return early tomorrow for your lesson. Madara nodded resolutely. Naruto managed a tired smile, gathering his belongings and heading down the familiar path. Naruto. The boy glanced back, meeting Madara's intense gaze. Keep my existence a secret. Not even to your most trusted confidant. Naruto sensed the gravity in Madara's words and nodded in understanding. Madara's features softened as the younger one waved and departed. That impish kid, Madara chuckled softly. A mere 5 years old, yet mastering Genin-level chakra control exercises, 2 in a single day. Such determination, especially with his lineage, sent shivers through the shinobi realm. Naruto hadn't sought assistance but relied on sheer trial and error. With a deep sigh, Madara rose from the bench, using his cane for support. Progress could be gradual for now, but his mind churned with plans to unlock his grandson's full potential. He acknowledged his flaws but harbored an unwavering dedication to his loved ones. Madara's contemplation continued until he reached the village wall under the starlit sky. Ensuring no watchful eyes were on him, he tapped a concealed part of the wall with his cane, activating a hidden mechanism. A hinged wooden panel opens, providing enough clearance for him to enter without straining his back. He constructed this subterranean hideout for personal use until his departure from the village. Judging by the accumulated dust and untouched belongings, it appeared that no one had discovered it yet. Regardless, it served as a temporary refuge between his encounters with Naruto. Taking a seat on the wooden throne, he disturbs a cloud of dust despite the cushion's slight depression, quickly succumbing to deep slumber. Naruto retreats to his bed after dinner and a bath. Had a busy day, Naruto? Tsukimi playfully remarks while tucking him in. He offers no response, only emitting a quiet snore into his pillow. Hiruzen barely registers the moment before he's lifted by the throat and forcefully pressed against his office wall. He notices a masked individual with a crimson left eye, emanating pure animosity. This wasn't how he anticipated his evening unfolding. Kei Kakashi. Sarutobi struggles to speak through his constricted airway. You deceived me. Kakashi's tone remains composed despite the intensity in his eyes. Another person enters, gasping in shock. Kakashi, what are you doing? Shizun's voice rings out. You informed me he was deceased, so why did I encounter a child with Sensei's and Kushina's scent? Kakashi's grip tightens, his frustration escalating with each word. Sarutobi is speechless, knowing any explanation about protecting Naruto won't assuage the Anbu's wrath, compounded by the pressure on his throat. Suddenly released, he collapses to his knees, gasping for breath. Kakashi. Tsunade interjects sharply. What was that about? Explain. Kakashi, consumed by frustration, disregards protocol. He told me Naruto was dead. Tsunade's tone shifts from stern to bewildered. What do you mean you thought he was dead? Sarutobi realizes that things will not go well for him when she finds out what he has done. After Sensei and Kushina, Kakashi swallows thickly. Died, Sarutobi told me that their son was dead. But I found him. He was meant to be my responsibility. Kakashi, I need you to calm down. Kakashi heeds her words, but does not stop his hateful glare. What's your excuse? Tsunade asks him, a bit menacingly. Lying to one of my shinobi like this? The village, he rasped desperately. The village was weak. Kakashi-kun was needed. Kakashi would be of greater use with passable mental health. You're going to have to come up with something better for undermining my authority like this. Tsunade interrupts him ruthlessly. Tsunade turns away from him in mute disgust. It breaks his heart that another one of his precious students feels that way about him. Shizun, take Kakashi to the waiting room. Tsunade orders. I need to have a word with my former advisor. Why yes, Tsunade-sama. Shizun hoops her arm around Kakashi's and drags him out, pointedly looking away from Hiruzen. Kakashi allows her to lead him out, but his Sharingan is glinting more viciously than any Uchiha that the old man has ever met. There is a moment of silence while the Sandaime drags himself back into his chair. He wasn't going to lie to himself, he was truly terrified of what Kakashi could have done to him if Shizun-chan and Tsunade hadn't been there to save him. There was a reason that he was only an advising old man. He was well and truly beyond any combat capacity he might have had a mere few years earlier. I don't think that I need to tell you that you're being asked to leave. Tsunade starts off. This manipulative behavior has a time and place, when it serves to protect Konoha and its subjects. Hiding this from Kakashi was a bad idea, but what I'm confused about is why you thought it would even work, even if it had been the right thing to do. I can't trust your input any longer. The hardness in her tone has returned. But it is the truth that hurts him more. So he nods silently. Good. Tsunade nods in satisfaction. Tsunade steps out of the room, no doubt to assess Kakashi's current state. Hiruzen silently despairs at her cold dismissal, but having things put into perspective like that makes him realize that he had probably only made things worse, and he knows that he has brought his suffering upon himself. Deep down, Hiruzen acknowledges that maybe he had put the village itself before the subjects too often. He thought he was doing what was best, but it should have been obvious that an emotionally traumatized boy like Kakashi could have been thrown completely off the deep end and become a gigantic flight risk. Because of his stupidity. Kakashi's constant enduring of underappreciation and mental stress speaks well of his character, but not of the people he is supposed to protect. They remain ignorant of the perils he goes through each and every day. Hiruzen wipes his eyes and picks up his belongings. He has no right to interfere anymore. Orochimaru was lost to him long ago and Tsunade was seeing him for what he truly was. He only hoped that his last student would see him as he always had. Tsunade sighs as she steps into the hall. It was just one thing after another today. Though to be fair, she hadn't expected Kakashi of all people to assault a former Hokage. Seeing Naruto must have riled him up beyond his normal sense of calm. Naruto. She'd heard whispers of another prodigy to be from teams that babysat at the orphanage. They would complain about one boy in particular that was a handful, even for the jounin. He showed a remarkable ability to pick up what he watched, and the story about him getting into a fight over some girl's pendant still made her smile. She thought back to his parents. She wasn't actually well acquainted with Kushina, despite the relation, but she did know Minato. Mostly because Jiraiya wouldn't shut up about him when the kid was his student and always brought Minato with him when he saw Tsunade, if only to show him off. The kid was flaky and annoying, but both he and Kushina had been taken before their time. Nobody deserves dying with the knowledge that their child's future is uncertain. Tsunade enters the conference room with a heavy sigh, catching sight of Shizune engaged in conversation with a subdued Kakashi. The young man had endured significant hardships, fending for himself after his father's tragic demise and discovering the grim scene firsthand. The toll of losing two close comrades, one of whom he had to confront, coupled with the loss of a mentor figure akin to a father, threatened to drown Kakashi in despair. Tsunade realizes the urgency of the situation. Recalling Sakumo's story, a man with few emotional connections besides his son, who eventually took his own life, Tsunade contemplates Kakashi's potential path. Without intervention, Kakashi might follow a similar dark trajectory as a coping mechanism for his profound losses. Observing Shizune's comforting gestures towards Kakashi, Tsunade formulates a plan. Stepping forward with authority, she addresses the Anbu operative. "Listen closely, Kakashi," Tsunade asserts firmly. "You have 5 more years in Anbu at most. After that, you'll transition to the role of a Jounin sensei." Kakashi's initial disbelief is palpable, but Tsunade quells his protests. "You'll have the authority to send failed subordinates back to the academy, but after these 5 years, Anbu life ends for you. You'll function as a regular Jounin." Kakashi's astonishment is evident, prompting a smirk from Tsunade. Shizune appears optimistic, knowing Kakashi's welfare is a multifaceted concern. Recognizing Kakashi's unsuitability for traditional familial roles, Tsunade sees potential in him as a mentor, both for his future students and for his own healing journey. After a reflective pause, Kakashi acquiesces with a single word, "Understood." Tsunade nods approvingly, hopeful that her decision will benefit Kakashi in the long run. "We'll address your recent altercation and assess your readiness to mentor Jinan later. Your actions were excessive, and there will be consequences regardless of your position," Tsunade adds firmly, noting Kakashi's subdued demeanor. Madara's query halted Naruto's eagerness to delve straight into mastering the ninjutsu promised by the old man, making him realize his lack of proficiency in using hand signs. The old man sighed, muttering cryptically about lineage, before gesturing Naruto closer with a beckoning hand. Here, Madara stopped him just short, allowing Naruto a clear view of his hands. "This is the Ram seal, the most ubiquitous because of its neutrality. It accelerates your chakra, useful for dispelling genjutsu or activating familiar ninjutsu." And so it continued, Madara meticulously demonstrating all 12 fundamental signs, coaching Naruto through repetitions with corrections here and there. After nearly half an hour, Naruto could execute them well enough to perform a jutsu. For this jutsu, you'll need these seals: tiger, ram, monkey, boar, horse, and tiger again. Madara illustrated the signs while listing them, then took a deep breath. Facing the river, he exhaled the jutsu. Kaden, Gokakyu no Jutsu. Naruto's eyes widened as a colossal fireball engulfed his sight. Madara's hair fluttered in the heat as the jutsu scorched the surroundings. When Madara ceased the jutsu due to breath depletion, Naruto was still awestruck. "I get to learn that?" A gentle nudge from Madara's cane spurred Naruto into clumsily rehearsing the signs 3 times before attempting the jutsu. Madara sat on a nearby wooden bench, using a hand-sized fan to fend off the heat. Although shade was scarce near the river, Madara was determined to witness his grandson master the Uchiha clan's rite of passage, unbeknownst to Naruto. He smirked at Naruto's initial attempt, which produced a flame akin to a house cat size, reminiscent of his own early struggles. Naruto's frustrated outburst only amused him further. Undeterred, Naruto diligently practiced, mirroring the perfectionist dedication he applied to chakra control exercises the day before. Hours passed as he stood in place, repeating the hand signs tirelessly. By midday, he could conjure a fireball rivaling Madara's stature. He is deeply impressed, not just by Naruto's swift mastery of the jutsu in such a short time, but by the minimal chakra expenditure throughout the day. Describing it as little seems inadequate, Naruto has effortlessly utilized vast amounts of chakra without depleting his reserves significantly. Even a skilled Uchiha Jonin would struggle to match Naruto's achievement. While Uchiha children typically master the jutsu within days, Naruto's chakra coils, much like a young Madara's, are not yet capable of fully channeling his chakra's potential. Fire chakra doesn't simply flood his lungs, it's directed through the tenketsu, requiring training to handle greater chakra flows. Understanding this mechanism is crucial for Naruto's development. Without proper guidance on chakra's intricacies, his potential might remain untapped. As hours pass, Naruto's fireball technique becomes remarkably proficient for his age, indicating mastery. The final step is maturity, which will enhance his jutsu proficiency. Naruto, Madara calls, and Naruto eagerly approaches, brimming with excitement. I can create the fireball now. Yes, you can, Madara acknowledges, his tone serious to convey the importance of responsibility. However, mastering ninjutsu also means understanding its consequences. Recklessly displaying your abilities can lead to trouble, especially when facing adversaries as you grow and become a ninja. Naruto's comprehension is limited, prompting a barrage of why questions from him. So if I keep it a secret, the enemies won't know how to defeat me? Exactly. You're learning fast. Naruto beams with understanding, marking the first of many lessons subtly imparted to shape his growing ninja mindset. Over the course 3 years, Madara was forced to realize that in his current condition, there were just some things he could not do for Naruto. Naruto had just turned 8, which meant he was finally ready to start Shinobi Academy. He would be bouncing if Gigi hadn't been strict about being too emotional or whatever. He was done with kiddie school. He was allowed to be happy. Tsukimi Bakken had equipped him with some flip-flops and a kimono shirt, and some pencils and books that he was supposed to need. He recognized one of them as a book he used to learn the leaf sticking exercise from. It felt refreshing to see a new one instead of the worn-out one he had before. Gigi always emphasized the importance of taking care of one's belongings, especially essential equipment. There were numerous children around, presumably his future classmates. It struck him as amusing how they resembled miniature versions of the adults accompanying them. Was that typical? Perhaps he should ask Bakken about it. Gigi was knowledgeable too. Uzumaki Naruto. A man with a scar on his face called out his name. Naruto stepped forward, raising his arm. Here. Several adults turned their attention towards him, causing a slight shyness to creep over him at the way they conversed in hushed tones. Naruto didn't appreciate it. Who can identify the 2 founding clans of Konohagakure no Sato? A girl with pink hair raised her hand. Your name again, please? Iruka-sensei was exceptionally polite, unlike previous teachers. Haruno Sakura. She chirped, standing up. The Senju clan and the Uchiha clan. Very well, Sakura-chan. Please take a seat. Now, can someone else name the leaders of those clans? Senju Hashirama. A loud voice erupted from the back row. Naruto glanced back but didn't recognize the speaker as one of the clan kids. Please raise your hand if you wish to answer. Iruka-sensei disregarded the shout, prompting Naruto to raise his hand. Name? Uzumaki Naruto. He stood up. Senju Hashirama was the leader of the Senju clan. Correct. Please take a seat. He complied, noticing the disgruntled expression on the loud boy in the back, which nearly made him smile. Iruka continued, I heard one of the clan leaders' names, but not the other. Can someone tell me who the other leader was? His gaze seemed to intentionally linger on another dark-haired boy. The boy raised his hand. Uchiha Sasuke, he stated without being prompted. The leader of the other clan was Uchiha Madara. What? Naruto's thoughts lingered on the name Uchiha Madara, yet a week passed without sight of him. I waited for your presence, but it eluded me, Naruto expressed with a hint of frustration, his youthful impatience tempered to a degree. You failed to appear. Refrain from hasty assumptions. You failed to notice your surveillance last week, Madara countered, deliberately injecting a tinge of annoyance into his tone. Being observed, Naruto. Surprise and guilt flickered across Naruto's face, his impulsive reproach to the elder now tinged with remorse. Yes, I observed, for your companions trailed you here, Madara disclosed, his voice carrying a deliberate edge. Taijutsu practice is imperative. Merely instructing won't suffice for physical encounters. Naruto's guilt deepened, though he retained a semblance of defiance. Madara noted this trait, recognizing both its value and its limits. Persistence was commendable, yet discerning when to yield mattered more, a lesson Naruto needed. Why exclude them? You could teach us all, Naruto questioned. I chose you for a reason, Naruto. I declined to mentor them, Madara stated pointedly. Our connection and your potential are pertinent. Discover why I've singled you out. Start with our names. Silence enveloped Naruto as Madara settled on the bench. Our connection mandates secrecy. Your vulnerability persists until strength arises. I possess knowledge that can be a double-edged sword if shared recklessly, Madara elaborated, emphasizing caution. Return next week with questions, having unearthed the depth of our bond. A pause, allowing Madara's words to sink in, his breath measured. And with that, seek understanding before divulging what's ours to protect, Madara concluded. When you find the motivation, that is. You're youthful and brimming with vitality. Konoha was established to nurture youngsters like you, allowing them time to grow into resilient adults. When you're prepared, seek knowledge. Until then, endure my training methods that may annoy you, Madara spoke, inhaling the refreshing Konoha breeze. It seemed progress would be swifter than anticipated, which he deemed beneficial. With his physical state deteriorating, he was akin to a man of bones and dust. Naruto's Konoha citizenship provided him with caregivers and companions to help him adapt socially and grasp modern norms. This allowed Madara to focus on imparting skills to Naruto and subtly guiding his beliefs to safeguard and advance what mattered to him. Although Naruto was too young for Madara to share his mature philosophies outright, he could plant seeds of wisdom in his grandson's mind. So, when life events aligned with his teachings, Naruto would instinctively grasp concepts he hadn't been explicitly taught. It was akin to teaching a child to walk, Madara mused. He lacked the time to shape Naruto comprehensively, as evidenced by Obito's deviation from his ideals when he attempted to mold him in his image as the next Uchiha Madara. For the sake of expediting progress, I'll offer a clue, Madara relented. What clue? Naruto inquired eagerly. I'm mentoring you for the same reason other children in your cohort receive early education. That's it? Taking a deep, heavy breath to regain composure, Naruto replied, that's all you'll hear from me, old man. Naruto let it slide, but his gaze kept darting towards Ji-san with a mix of distraction and concern. The intermittent coughs and raspy breaths often cut off Madara's words before he could finish. Share what you learned today, Madara managed to utter with great effort. Iruka-sensei and Mizuki-sensei taught us kunai throwing. They said we can't have our own yet, but Iruka-sensei praised my skills, considering it was my first time. Naruto's recounting brought a slight ease to Madara's breathing, and he listened with a faint smile. As Naruto wondered silently, could this elderly man be the legendary Uchiha Madara? Will you pass away? Naruto's voice was solemn yet unwavering. Tsukimi wasn't surprised by Naruto's question, he always grasped things quicker than the other orphans. She couldn't deceive him. Yes, she rasped. It was inevitable, age had caught up with her. There was no elixir for that, nor would she buy one. Every coin she had would go to the children unless the Konoha Council provided. And if they did, she wanted her savings to support her granddaughter, busy with her bakery? Do you have family? Naruto's follow-up question hinted at his perceptiveness. Tsukimi smiled at the caring boy. Yes, dear. My family is a treasure. I miss them dearly when they're away. Naruto fiddled with his shorts hem, gazing downward. What's it like to have family? Her smile widened. Family is a blessing, Naruto-kun. Words can't capture the love and joy they bring. Someday, you'll have your own family and understand the lengths you'd go to protect and cherish them. At Naruto's insistence, she shared both humorous and poignant family tales, unknowingly leaving a lasting impression. Family truly is a treasure. Naruto and the other orphans are not woken up by Tsukimi the next morning, and Naruto has decided it's his responsibility to let someone know. His first and only stop is the Hokage's office. He doesn't bother going to the academy for the rest of the week. Tsukimi Bakken died. I dunno what to do now. Shizune kneels down before the crying boy and pulls him into a hug. Don't worry, sweetie, everything's going to be fine. Naruto is one of few that are given their own apartment, with a caretaker that stops by once a week with some frozen meals and teaches him how to cook and clean. He is one of the only kids at the orphanage who isn't placed into foster care after the process is rushed following Tsukimi's death. And he thinks he knows why. His first encounter with death is something he remembers intensely. Gigi. Are you my grandfather? Yes, Naruto. I am. Single Tomoe Sharingan meets triple Tomoe. Training barely changes, but Madara is going in full force teaching in comparison to before. It is true that small chakra reserves are easier to control at first. Madara agreed after listening to what the academy instructors had to say about it from Naruto. However, easy doesn't always mean best. Some chakra control exercises can't be learned unless you have a certain amount of chakra. People not born with the potential for large reserves like you or myself could never hope to achieve the utmost perfected chakra control. Why can we learn it and other people can't? Naruto asks astutely. Madara had known at some point he would need to explain exactly what made them different to normal people. He hadn't expected Naruto to catch on so quickly. Shared smarts was a blessing and a curse. I will only explain this to you once. You must never tell anyone what I am about to tell you until you are powerful enough that it won't matter. Do you understand me? Madara's question was firm, and his eye dangerously sharp. Naruto only nodded in response. His Sharingan read Madara's lips so that he could remember forever. Good. Madara sighed and leaned back into the wooden throne. I will first need to tell you the history of the Uchiha and Senju. And it went on for nearly 2 hours. Naruto sat patiently but enraptured with Madara's tale. The Uchiha bloodline's origin, the link between the Senju and Uzumaki. Just what it was that he and Madara were different from the rest, with an embarrassing speech on how babies were made thrown in. To Naruto, it may have well been torture. He regretted asking after the first 5 minutes. Your mother, while not showing it in any way, possessed my genes which were passed on into you. That is why you look so different to your parents, because you look like me instead. But why aren't they here? Naruto asks morosely. Why did they die if they were so strong? Madara stays silent for a few moments, looking at his hands on the top of his cane. It is because of me. Madara states in monotone. My dream to bring peace upon with world drove another like-minded man to take up my goal, Tsuki no Mi. What? Tsuki no Mi was my plan to force the world into an inescapable, perfect genjutsu. One that would control all beings to submit, and each person would have their individual utopia to reside in forever. The problem with my plan was that I needed the Rinnegan, the combined DNA of Uchiha and Senju, along with the 9 Baijuu, and a lifespan that would allow me to fulfill the plan at the correct time. I did not have that time, so I made an apprentice out of an Uchiha to fulfill it for me. What's that got to do with Ka-san and To-san being dead? Naruto asks, stomach dropping. Madara looked up from his hands, and Naruto is reminded that the old man isn't strong enough to keep the Sharingan on all the time anymore. A fading charcoal eye looks him in his crimson ones. Naruto held his tongue. He wanted to shout out all of the anger that was boiling in him. He didn't want to say something that would turn the only person he had against him. Naruto. Madara calls, softer than he ever had. No matter what I have done, and how evil I may appear to you now, you can always trust that from now on, I would do anything in my power for you. How am I supposed to believe you? Naruto leapt to his feet, face red with fury. You still haven't told me why they're dead and now it feels like you might have killed them. I haven't done anything since meeting you to make you believe that I am your enemy. At least listen to my words before you decided to kill me. Naruto looked stunned. I wasn't going to. He trails off, unsure what to say to something that hadn't even crossed his mind. Madara looks like he misjudged the reaction too by the way he sucks his lips in, a semi-frustrated expression. So he begins to talk again. My apprentice killed her in a sense. Extracting a Baiju from a person kills them. They may manage to last a short while without dying afterwards, but there has been no record of anyone actually living. It is only because of how powerful your mother's chakra was that she managed to survive so long after the extraction, and if she had been given medical attention then she may have lived long enough to raise you. The problem is that a female Jinchuriki seal is at its absolute weakest when they are giving birth. My apprentice took advantage of that to obtain the QB sealed within her. I don't know how he knew where she would be, that information should have been kept secret. Giving birth to you, having the strongest Baiju taken out of her, and then not receiving medical help because the threat of the QB destroying the village was all too much for her to live. If she had the choice, she would have stayed with you as all parents want. Madara breathes deep, ancient body not able to deal with so much talking at once. Your father understood that there was no hope of your mother surviving, so he sought to make a new Jinchuriki. You? I'm a Jinchuriki? No. Madara denies. Kushina took over the sealing ritual, and used the power that your father was going to use in order to send the QB away. She couldn't bear the thought of you suffering as she did, regardless of what Konoha needed. On the brink of death, she made a decision that would leave her despised by village officials. But at least give a better chance of her son living happy and healthy. Both of your parents suffered terrible wounds to save you from the QB. Given that your father lived long enough to attempt turning you into the new Jinchuriki, I would wager that he was strong enough to either kill my apprentice or leave him to lick his wounds for at least a decade later. It probably didn't matter either way. Zetsu was still at large, probably plotting. Being a tool created in his darkest moments, it wouldn't stop until it fulfilled its purpose. If you had the chance, would you change anything? Naruto asks, somewhat rhetorically. There is no point in dwelling on what I would change. Even if the things I have done remain secret and not a single person knows, it would still be the truthful past, least of all the past that has had a tangible effect on our reality today. Naruto is quiet, toiling this information dump in his mind for several dozen minutes. Old man, Naruto begins his declaration, drawing Madara's eyes to him. Train me to be the strongest. I'm gonna have a family one day too. I'm not gonna let them down. After some crucial revelations shifted Naruto's perspective, notable changes occurred in his training regimen. Madara, no longer withholding valuable insights now that Naruto had proven his discretion, delved into teaching him about the intricacies of the Sharingan alongside other Uchiha techniques. Though Madara's participation in taijutsu drills lessened, occasional genjutsu sessions augmented Naruto's movement precision when Madara felt up to it. In the era of warring states, taijutsu practitioners were abundant. Despite their dwindling numbers, their prowess hasn't diminished. They remain adept, while true taijutsu masters held the limelight. Madara lectures. Ninjutsu and genjutsu didn't boast the extensive repertoires seen after the village's founding. Back then, mastering each jutsu swiftly was crucial for battlefield readiness, rather than focusing on inventing new jutsu. Naruto, engrossed, listens while executing pull-ups on a sturdy beam, fortifying his physique and hence, his physical reserves. Why? Taijutsu. Still crucial? We've got jutsu. Now, Naruto manages between pull-ups. Taijutsu encompasses all physical aspects of combat, beyond martial arts. It involves pursuit during chases, agility to dodge projectiles and jutsu. Many rely on ninjutsu and genjutsu first and foremost, contrary to what's effective. Utilizing taijutsu conserves chakra for critical moments, with chakra naturally channeling into energy for body functions during battle. While chakra usage is permissible, do you grasp my point? Madara elucidates. Naruto descends from the beam, taking measured sips from his water bottle to avoid choking, a lesson learned from past mishaps. He responds to his grandfather's query, internalizing the lesson. Avoid skill gaps, Naruto asserts. What do you mean by gaps? Madara probes, ensuring Naruto comprehends and internalizes the teachings. Relying too heavily on one skill leaves vulnerabilities. If your strength is countered, lacking alternative spells defeat. In a world where chakra enables myriad feats, being subpar invites defeat, Naruto explains, settling down, legs outstretched. Madara reclined in his chair, his gaze fixed on Naruto's fatigued yet contemplative expression. Something clearly weighed on Naruto's mind, evident from his prolonged reflection. Could he have arrived at the correct answer after such a lengthy introspection? What troubles you, my grandson? Madara inquired, his tone measured. Ji-san, Naruto spoke softly, meeting Madara's gaze. Can one's chakra be stolen? Almost there. Just a step away. It depends on the context, Madara responded, allowing for further discussion. I mean, permanently taken away. What if one loses the ability to wield chakra? Naruto elaborated. Precisely. It's conceivable, Madara replied, though it's not a mere cessation of chakra usage. Chakra is intricately intertwined with our physiological makeup from birth to death. Removing chakra from someone unaccustomed to its use would yield the same consequences as it would for us, who devote our lives to mastering this energy. It would lead to our demise. Naruto seemed unsettled by this revelation, and understandably so. I thought. Naruto paused, then continued, didn't you mention that the Sage of Six Paths bestowed chakra upon humanity? Why would he introduce such a vulnerability? I shared with you the legend of the Sage of Six Paths ushering an era of harmony by imparting chakra and promoting Ninshu for collaboration and peace, Madara corrected, pleased to engage in this discourse. You refer to it as a legend, implying skepticism toward its veracity, Naruto noted, his eyes reflecting curiosity rather than dismissal. Legends often echo truths, Madara acknowledged. Yet, they seldom reveal the whole truth. As you've observed, the vulnerability of chakra depletion leading to death prompts us to question its purpose. Did the sage intentionally embed this frailty within us, or is it an inherent aspect of our biology, necessary for us to learn chakra manipulation? Naruto pondered this for a moment. Both scenarios hold equal plausibility, Naruto mused aloud, his gaze sharpened with contemplation. There's no definitive evidence portraying the sage as an unequivocal force for good. Perhaps he wielded pain and fear to enforce his vision of peace? Your deduction is logical, considering the knowledge at hand, Madara conceded. However, had the sage pursued a darker path, his legacy would have left a more sinister mark. His descendants, particularly his sons, perpetuated conflict among themselves, igniting centuries of strife between the Uchiha and Senju clans. This ongoing clash, not his legacy, likely fueled the era of discord and bloodshed. Why is that more likely? The sage is just a legend now. It's not like there's anyone left that still practices Ninshu. Indeed, Madara acknowledges. But let's reconsider what I mentioned earlier. The Rikudo didn't leave behind a legacy of suffering. The people he brought peace to didn't change fundamentally, their view of his sons did. He traveled extensively, spreading his beliefs across the world. Generations passed down this perception that the sage was benevolent while his sons were misguided. This legacy persisted until recent times. Both the Uchiha and Senju were seen as mere warmongers, disregarding their inherent potential. But then they forgot, Naruto interjects, grasping the shift. When the Uchiha and Senju united for peace, others joined in out of necessity to counterbalance their strength, forsaking their own legacies. And so they abandoned their roots, giving rise to the era of hidden villages. Madara nods approvingly at Naruto's deduction. The pursuit of power clouded their original intentions. Over time, they lost sight of their purpose, resorting to might makes right ideologies. Their methods deteriorated into acts like attacking innocuous villages to instigate conflicts and exploiting children with Kekkei Genkai for strength instead of earning it. Similar to what happened to Ka-san and the Hyuga girl, Naruto remarks. Indeed, Madara acknowledges. But let's return to our earlier discussion. Every strength has a vulnerability. Jutsu can be countered with opposing chakra natures, genjutsu broken, and possessing stealable chakra is a natural weakness. Yet, view this as an impetus to enhance all your skills. Chakra theft requires more potent jutsu, so strengthen your overall abilities. Don't rely solely on one aspect, it may fail you when most needed. Even the Sharingan isn't a universal solution. He pauses, breathing heavily. Perhaps experiencing this firsthand is best. Combat will unveil much for you. Madara offers a fresh-looking book, Bingo Book, Land of Fire South. Choose your missions wisely. Don't rush. Shedding blood for the first time isn't trivial. Later, a grim incident involving distant relatives unfolds, prompting little sympathy from Madara. His perception of family hierarchy is evident. They got what they deserved. Grandfather, how harsh. Don't you care for your family as you do for me? Madara barely acknowledges his grandson's sarcasm. Naruto knows Jiji's stance on betrayal. One survived. Sasuke's brother was behind it. Weak. He should have finished the job. That's mean. Madara launches into another lecture. In light of the survivor, foul play is evident. It's highly unlikely that a single individual exterminated an entire clan. There's more to this story than what's on the surface. Perhaps my apprentice is still alive after all. Naruto squints his eyes in contemplation. Madara grins knowingly. It's effortless to ignite the flames of determination in a passionate boy like his grandson. What would you do if I were to depart this world tomorrow? Would I stop laughing before or after your demise? Naruto retorts with dry humor. Madara's brow twitches at his grandson's response. His own sense of humor isn't as amusing when directed back at him. Nonetheless, he playfully whacks Naruto on the head with his cane. Ow! You're quite the cunning one. What happened to the young child who used to plead for jutsu? He realized he'd get the jutsu either way, Naruto replies with an annoyed expression. You still lack the skills to utilize them all, Madara dismisses, hiding any hint of softening. You'd collapse if you attempted one at your age, Naruto teases, poking fun at Madara's age. Kids these days lack respect and skill, Madara grumbles. Elders have mush for brains and a constant scent, no matter how much they bathe, Naruto quips back. Naruto yelps as Madara playfully strikes him again with the cane. Okay. Under the veil of darkness, 9-year-old Uchiha Naruto swiftly maneuvers through towering trees and gusty winds. His grandfather had deemed this his final trial. Survival in the ruthless shinobi world demanded the ability to take a life, regardless of one's heritage. For the past week, Naruto had trailed a band of missing nin who had been wreaking havoc in neighboring Nami no Kuni. A sword hangs at his waist, compensating for his small stature against grown adversaries. Despite their lack of finesse, their size advantage could be fatal if they managed to grab him. Expanding his sensory range, Naruto pinpoints his targets. 13 signatures. Excellent. They're only a short distance away. His Sharingan activates, 3 tomoe swirling ominously in each eye, piercing through the darkness. As Naruto approaches the camp, he discerns what his senses couldn't reveal. 4 women and a child caged, their chakra resonating distress. Don't fret, darlings, a rough-looking man leers at them. We'll take good care of you. Right, boss? Glancing around for a response he doesn't receive, the man meets a swift end with a kunai between his eyes. Unfortunately, his demise alerts the rest of the camp. Naruto swiftly moves behind another bandit before any more alarm can spread, driving his sword through the rogue's back and out of his chest. There he is. Another bandit howls, and the remaining 5 turn their attention to the intruder. He's just a kid. The same bandit exclaims. That brat still killed the boss. Get him. The bandits draw their swords and converge on Naruto. One makes a clumsy swipe, hoping to end the confrontation quickly. His underestimation costs him dearly as Naruto flicks a kunai swiftly, striking him in the throat. The remaining four approach more cautiously, but Naruto remains unfazed. Tonight, they all meet their end. Without hesitating, Naruto attacks the bandit whose grip on his sword is loose, pushing the blade aside with his own and chopping off several fingers in a swift motion. Dodging a kick from another assailant, Naruto retaliates, swiftly beheading the bandit with a single vertical slash. The sword comes to rest between two halves of a nose. The last two attackers freeze in their tracks, dropping to the ground as if their strings were cut upon meeting Naruto's hypnotic gaze. With a clear path, Naruto dispatches the unconscious bandits and the one still screaming after losing his fingers. Sheathing his sword, Naruto weaves hand signs and takes a deep breath. Katen, Gokaku no Jutsu. The screams intensify briefly before fading into silence as the bandits turn to ashes in the wind. Naruto escorts the terrified women and the little girl to the nearest village, where he presents the heads of the missing nin and receives a substantial reward, which he carefully seals into a scroll to take back home. They were evil people, Ji-san, Naruto says solemnly. Really evil. He understands the gravity of the situation and what could have happened to the women if he hadn't arrived in time. His grandfather has imparted wisdom on such matters, acknowledging the existence of true malevolence in the world. In gratitude, the women promise not to reveal Naruto's appearance to the authorities. While he doesn't coerce them, he knows he can't fend off every enemy solely because of his Sharingan. Did you encounter any difficulties? Madara's concern for his grandson is evident as they share a meal. I was worried. No problems, Naruto replies between bites. It was less trouble than I expected. And the battle itself? Naruto pauses before continuing his meal, reflecting thoughtfully on the recent experience. It was enjoyable, Naruto admits with deliberation. I could sense the adrenaline rush, and Madara interrupts him by placing a hand on his head and tousling his hair gently. Now, you have encountered real combat, Madara says solemnly. But ahead lie even stronger adversaries. Ones who are faster and more formidable than those you've faced. Do you grasp the essence of true strength now? Naruto nods after swallowing, understanding Madara's lesson about the significance of first-hand experience in gauging one's strength. He acknowledges that the outcome of the recent fight could have easily tilted the other way if his opponent had been more astute and situationally aware. He comprehends the vast disparity between his current strength and his grandfather's prowess, motivating him to redouble his efforts in pursuit of greater power. At 11 years old, Naruto heads towards the hideout, his shoulder-length spiky black hair fluttering in the breeze. He has chosen to emulate his grandfather's hairstyle and is letting his hair grow longer. Engrossed in his training, Naruto often skips attending the academy, deeming the repetitive curriculum a poor use of his time for the next 2 years until graduation. He dedicates himself to surpassing his current limitations through rigorous self-training. His grandfather's guidance proves invaluable, imparting wisdom that Naruto had previously undervalued until his initial encounters with mortality nearly 2 years ago. He absorbs every lesson from Madara, mastering various jutsu and pushing himself relentlessly to not just become stronger, but the strongest. Madara educates him on strategy, history, and the diverse styles of shinobi, including Kekkei Genkai, while pushing him to his limits in taijutsu, swordsmanship, genjutsu, Sharingan, shuriken jutsu, and even some medical ninjutsu. Naruto aims to master every aspect of shinobi arts. While he knows the forms intellectually, ingraining them into muscle memory and attaining the strength to execute them effectively is a distinct challenge. On days when his grandfather is indisposed, Naruto trains solo or occasionally attends the academy for relaxation. Excelling in exams and dominating taijutsu spars intimidate less confident peers. Naruto's fascination with Fuinjutsu stemmed not from his lineage but from a desire to avoid vulnerability to potentially debilitating seals. His approach to learning this art was thorough and dedicated, especially considering its potential to enhance his training through seals or barriers. Although his grandfather was somewhat of a mentor in sealing techniques, Madara's training methods didn't rely heavily on them, unlike Hashirama who constantly tested Madara's abilities. While Madara was once renowned and rivaled Hashirama in prowess, Konoha's history had somewhat overshadowed Madara's achievements. However, Madara's prowess across various fields, including taijutsu, was undeniable, yet Hashirama's mastery of senjutsu gave him an edge. If Madara had access to senjutsu training earlier, he might have surpassed Hashirama without relying on external factors like the Rinnegan or Hashirama's cells. Recognizing Naruto's similar potential, Madara became his ideal mentor to unlock his full capabilities. Where Madara's teachings fell short, Naruto had the luxury of time and determination to seek answers independently. Eventually, Naruto chose to forego formal education at the academy, as it failed to challenge him or facilitate his growth. After a meeting with the Hokage and academy administrators to discuss his future, Tsunade supported his decision, redirecting his focus to intensive training. Despite still attending the academy part-time to maintain literacy and community ties, Naruto dedicated most of his time to rigorous self-training, preparing for his future as a Genin. However, upon noticing a shift in his grandfather's chakra, Naruto's usual routine was disrupted, prompting him to investigate further. Naruto called out, "Grandfather?" The sound reverberated in the cave. Moving forward, he spotted his grandfather in his usual spot. However, something felt amiss as Naruto couldn't sense the robust chakra that should have been there. "Grandpa?" Naruto attempted again, trying to rouse him from sleep. No response came. "Please wake up, grandfather." Naruto shook him with increasing urgency, but there was no reaction. The grim reality settled in, yet Naruto clung to hope, willing his grandfather to awaken. Collapsing to his knees, Naruto, for the second time in his life, broke down in tears. He sat on the cave's rough floor, reminiscing about the moments shared with his last living family member. 6 months later, Tsunade greeted Naruto warmly as he entered her office. He had chosen a quiet day to seek assistance, ensuring minimal distractions. "Happy 12th birthday, Naruto," Tsunade said, her tone more formal than usual. "Thank you, Hokage-sama," Naruto replied respectfully. "What brings you here today?" Tsunade asked casually. "I wish to take the graduation exam," Naruto stated. "Your timing is good. Your age group is scheduled for their exam soon. If you wait for 2 weeks, you can take it with them," Tsunade informed him. "I can wait," Naruto affirmed. "Excellent," Tsunade smiled. "I'll have my assistants prepare the necessary paperwork. You'll need to attend the remaining classes? It might be challenging to enroll you later, so are you certain about this decision?" "Yes, I am sure. I prefer not to delay any further," Naruto replied with determination. "Very well. Please wait in the reception area. Shizune will assist you with the forms shortly." 10 minutes later, Shizune called out, "Naruto Uzumaki?" Naruto approached her, relieved that the wait was over. "Apologies for the delay," Shizune apologized. "The preparations for the Genin exams have been hectic, especially with several clan heirs in this class requiring additional coordination with their families. Please fill in your details here so we can update your information in the academy system. You only need to get your photo taken upon graduation, and your status will remain unchanged until you qualify for promotions." Naruto nodded and then asked politely, "Could you explain this section about stipend mission credit?" He pointed to a section on the form. "Certainly," Shizune explained, "this ensures that individuals without family support receive a stipend from the village until they are capable of handling more missions independently and sustaining themselves." Naruto welcomed the news with satisfaction. Ever since Tsukimi Bakken passed away and he found himself in a modest apartment, he hadn't been able to save any money. Every bit he earned went into essentials for training and sustenance. However, he remained confident that his training efforts would yield results beneficial to the village. Despite his current financial constraints, Naruto signed the necessary documents, his determination unwavering. "I will do you proud, mentor," Naruto affirmed silently, his resolve undiminished. End of Part 1. Thank you for following along with the fanfiction thus far. Your support means a lot. Please consider liking, sharing, and commenting on the content. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more. Much appreciated, Anime Dreams.